Now, this upcoming FOMC meeting on this upcoming Wednesday is absolutely huge for market activity for a lot of different reasons. If you don't know what the FOMC meeting is, this is the rate hike decision done by the Fed, and if inflation is really bad, they'll raise rates more aggressively. If inflation is not bad at all and we have recession risks, they'll cut rates, and if they're kind of in the middle somewhere, then they'll pause or skip. And that's what they chose to do during this last meeting. They chose to, quote, skip rate hikes, and my guess is that they're going to raise rates at this upcoming meeting about 25 basis points. If you look at the Fed Watch tool, this is a pretty good gauge on what they're specifically going to do during the next rate hike decision, and you can even see on that there is a 99.8% chance that they raise rates up to 525 to 550, and that's a pretty good likelihood. I mean, generally it's pretty skewed in one direction for these rate hike decisions on the CME group page, but this one is especially polarized with 99.8%, and so a large majority of people think they're going to raise rates, specifically 25 basis points during this next meeting. And I will tell you, this is incredibly likely. It's almost certain that they're going to raise rates 25 basis points. Now, what will matter more so than any of that stuff is what the Fed actually says. You know, typically every Fed rate hike decision at 2 p.m. they're going to announce the actual rate hike decision, and again in this case it's almost certainly going to be 25 basis points. And then at 2:30 they're going to do the interview with Big Papa Jerome Powell, and he's going to, you know, say some things about what the current market landscape looks like with regards to inflation and what to expect for the rest of this year. Now, if you remember, during the last rate hike decision he said that they would probably raise rates at least 2 more times during this year, and there's about 4 meetings left, including tomorrow. And so what that means is that they're probably going to raise rates at least 50% of these upcoming Fed meetings this year. And that's okay. You know, the real question here is, what does inflation look like moving forward? When are we going to hit the 2% goal that they gave for us? And again, let me know in the comments below when you think we'll hit that goal. It could be next year, it could be the year after. And again, judging by what Jerome Powell said in the last interview, you know, 6 weeks ago, it's probably going to be in 2024, 2025. Still, hopefully we continue to see some pretty good signs in inflation. Again, inflation has come in lower than expected every CPI report over the last year. Now, the Fed actually uses something called the personal consumption expenditure, and that actually drops next week as well on Friday. So next Friday we have the PCE is what it's called, which is again the personal consumption expenditure. And you can see here the core PCE for next Friday at 8:30 is expected to show at 0.3%. Again, this is the Fed's preferred inflationary gauge, and so this is actually the one over CPI that the Fed specifically looks at, because they think it's a little bit more of a true tell in what inflation actually is. And the core PCE is actually the most important one. I know we just told you the regular PCE, but the core PCE is the one the Fed is going to look at. Again, 0.3% on the month and 4.6% on the year, but the monthly reading is generally the most important. Now, again, let me know your predictions for PCE next week. We also have, I believe, GDP data, which will be relevant for inflationary fears as well. Expectations for that are 2%. And again, let me know in the comments what you think any of these are going to show up as. And so just to put that into perspective, for next week on Wednesday we have the FOMC rate hike decision and press conference. On Thursday we've got jobless claims, durable good orders, and GDP, which will be relevant for both inflation with jobless numbers, which is just how many people are filing for unemployment, as well as durable good orders. And then for recession fears, like, you know, what we're currently in or what we saw earlier this year with the banks, GDP is very relevant to that as well, with the recession fears and the inflation fears going on in the market this year. And so it really will be important. And again, we're going to stream all of this. We typically have thousands of people live tuning into this when we drop it every week, because, you know, we cover it pretty quickly. You know, we're pretty reliable. You can either pay $30K for Bloomberg Terminal, or you can tune into beginner trading and get that data really quickly. And so if you have not already, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate it, and join us all of these days, including Wednesday, for the rate hike decision. And we're going to cover all of this, stream the entire FOMC rate hike decision and press conference, and then break it down afterwards and all that good stuff. And so yeah, that's not all we have next week though. Okay guys, so we also have some pretty big earnings coming up this upcoming week. We have Meta. You can see here Meta drops, I believe, Wednesday. So Meta on Wednesday. If you look at Tuesday, we have some other pretty big ones like Microsoft, Google, Snapchat, Visa. And the reason these are pretty relevant is because, you know, a lot of these weigh pretty heavily on the S&P and NASDAQ. You know, like just as an example, this previous week we had Tesla earnings. Tesla's like number 5 weighted on the S&P 500, which is the market. You know, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ is the market. And so when something heavily weighted like Microsoft or Google or Snapchat drops their quarterly earnings, that's going to have some influence and volatility on the market. That will move markets. And so it's really important to pay attention to, regardless of whether you're holding these actual stocks or not. If you're holding another large weighted stock on the S&P 500 and Microsoft releases their earnings, you're probably going to watch Microsoft earnings, or at least want to watch Microsoft earnings, because it will have some influence. And again, we're going to stream the entire thing live right here. You can hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're going to stream the entire thing, as well as the entire earnings call for Microsoft, which will be really interesting because of the microchip and AI runs that have happened over the last couple months. And so tune into that as well, and we will stream that as well. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about what you think the rate hike decision will be, what you think Microsoft will do, whether it will beat or miss on earnings, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you all then. Also, Top Step still has their $49 sale going on, where you can get the base combine for $49. It's a funded account program. A lot of these stocks move very similar to the S&P 500, and so you can day trade the S&P 500 in futures on Top Step, and there's no PDT rule, and they're the most legit funded program in the world. So I'll include that link in the description. Good luck. I love you all. Y'all be safe. Hit the like button, run those numbers up, and I'll see you guys later.